It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
All right, folks, welcome. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. Again, telephone number 870-275-9799. Can President Trump get the most black voters in a generation? We're about to find out in the 2020 election. And there's an organization called the Black Americans for a Better Future. The founder and chairman is on the line with us, Raynard Jackson. Mr. Jackson, welcome to Conduit News this morning.
Hey, Paul. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yes, sir. It's Raynard, right? Is that how you say your first name?
Yeah, Raynard.
Raynard. Okay.
Yep.
So tell me, what made you want to start this organization, sir?
Oh, well, I came in, Paul. I'm from St. Louis. I'm right down the road from you guys as far as growing up. I graduated from Oral Roberts University studying accounting, and literally in the 80s, former Vice President Bush literally plucked me out of obscurity from St. Louis and brought me up to D.C. with him. And what was interesting, Paul, is black folks have always been conservative, but when a lot of conservatives talk about conservatism to the black community, what we hear is Strom Thurmond, Jesse Helms. So a better way of describing the black community is traditional values. That transports us back to a time when we're sitting on grandmother's lap as a little kid, and she's telling us what's right, what's wrong, family, history, things like that. And so what I found out being at Oral Roberts University, Paul, is the things the school required of us as students, the honor code, we had to go to chapel twice a week, we had to go to church every Sunday. Those were just things I was taught growing up, so it was no transition for me. I didn't realize at the time that's what you call conservative values or being a Republican. And so most of the black friends I have all across the country to this day, Paul, believe in that. But the problem with the party and conservatism is they don't make the black community feel like they're welcome. So it's not the issues, it's the comfort level. That is the problem.
Interestingly, that's very interesting. And so what do you think? Do you think the president can get the most black voters in a generation?
Yeah, we average, Paul, 9% of the black community during a presidential election, and that's whether we do anything or not. That's the national average historically, 9%. Romney in 2012 got 6%. Trump in 2016 got 8%, so a 25% increase. With the economic news in the black community under this president, Paul, if this administration, if this party were to effectuate an effective communication strategy, we can get 15, 20% of the black vote. And mathematically, Paul, if a Republican ever gets north of 15% of the black vote during a presidential year, mathematically it is impossible for a Democrat to win a national election.
Wow. And I've heard that before. And I saw a poll. I think it was probably last year, but it was done in 2018. The first time it was done was in 2017, and the president was looking at I think 15% approval from the black community, and then it jumped to 29% a year later. I mean, those are staggering numbers, and if those hold up, then I think you're right.
Yeah, but see, I'm not a big poll reader, Paul. I don't read. I don't believe in polls. The polls I believe in is on the issue of communications. For example, if you look at all the cable talking head shows, and even on Fox, MSNBC, CNN, you have a lot of liberals, and especially black liberals, constantly calling the party conservatives, the president racist, they don't care about blacks, etc. And Paul, as you probably know, a lie that's repeated becomes the truth. We have nobody pushing back on a regular basis. I do a lot of media on my own on all the cable shows, radio programs like yours, etc. But we need to have a whole kamikaze of blacks across the country and on the state and local level pushing back against these liberal lies. But if we don't do that, Paul, I'm telling you, this president can have the best record by substance in the world, but if you keep repeating a lie, the people are going to believe the lie.
So, do you think that there have been, though? I mean, there does appear to be. I mean, there's this walk away movement that I've seen on Twitter. There is good economic news, but do you think there are more people waking up to the fact that no, the Republican Party is not about racism. The president is not a racist.
Well, here's the problem I have with the walk-away movement, Paul. You want blacks and other folks to walk away from the Democratic Party, so they're walking away from the Democratic Party, walking into what? There's no infrastructure in place, and the National Party has no infrastructure in place to receive these people. It's almost like what's going on at the border, Paul. You got all these folks coming in, and ICE and our country are not prepared to receive all these new people. So when you say walk away, they're walking away from the Democratic Party into where the infrastructure to receive this influx of new supporters. It doesn't exist, and that's the problem I have.
I see here on the website, bafbf.org, we have the focus is getting black businessmen engaged with the Republican Party. How do you do that?
Very easy. If you come talking about lowering taxes, if you come talking about getting the government out of the way and just let us compete, isn't it amazing, Paul? Tiger Woods was able to come into golf and dominate, not because he was black, but because he knew what the rules were. No one placed artificial barriers in front of him. He was able to compete fairly. Isn't it amazing that the Williams sisters in tennis did the same thing? So we have a history in this country when there is fair opportunity and equal opportunity to compete. We as black folks will always excel. And so by focusing on the business community, if we can take our Republican conservative principles and explain to these business owners that, hey, we are your allies in helping you growing your revenues, so we don't have to convert them. All we have to do, Paul, is say, we welcome you into our movement. We want you involved. And the message is already there. So we don't have to convert. All we have to do is invite.
That's a great point. We're talking with Raynard Jackson. He's the founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future. And again, that website is bafbf.org. A few more points on the website. I think it's a great-looking website, by the way.
Thank you.
Opportunity. Blacks are begging the Republican Party to give them a reason to vote Republican. Yep. Well, expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, Paul, hardly a week goes by that I don't get a call from a friend or someone who read one of my columns or went on the website, and they are saying things like, I don't have a problem voting for Republicans. I voted for Republicans for, city council, state senate, governor, and things like, especially in your state, Asa Hutchins. I can't even. Your governor,
Asa Hutchinson, no problem.
Your governor and Mike Huckabee, they all got north of 25% of the black vote when they were running for governor. So Arkansas is a prime example of what could be done when a governor or gubernatorial candidate just reaches out to the black community and say, hey, tell me what's important for you. Tell me what's on your mind, and I want you to be involved with what I'm doing. And so, again, you don't have to convert blacks on the message of conservatism, Paul. All we have to do is invite them and make it feel welcoming. Sort of like, you remember the old days, Paul, when a new person would move into your neighborhood, they had what they call the welcome wagon. All the other neighbors would come around and bring some food to the new neighbor and, hey, welcome, and things like that. When the party starts doing that verbally and rhetorically and welcoming the black community, you don't have to convert them on the issue. Just make them feel like you want them involved.
Interesting. So your organization, so you're engaging with black businessmen. You're all talking about the lower taxes, as you're saying, hey, this is what we want to do. Also got to make them feel welcome, and also got to combat this idea of that the president's a racist. I mean, so is that in a nutshell? Did I cover everything?
Yeah. What's amazing is I did a column a couple of months ago Paul, and saying, when did Donald Trump become a racist? Because I have video that I put in this column from the early 90s, Jesse Jackson in New York naming Donald Trump Man of the Year. I got video and quotes from Al Sharpton praising Donald Trump. So, and this is despite already knowing what his father, Trump's father's legacy was with the HUD discrimination suit, et cetera, et cetera. So, at what point did Trump become a racist? When he gave Al Sharpton $50,000, he wasn't a racist. When he gave Jesse Jackson free office space on Wall Street for one of his organizations, was he a racist then? So, when did he become a racist?
That's a really good point. And you mentioned Tiger Woods earlier. He awarded Tiger Woods the Presidential Medal of Freedom for obviously the great comeback, the Masters win, and everything else. And the media, the CNN in particular, they just said, well, President's just doing this so he can attach himself to Tiger Woods, which is really, they're saying, he's trying to combat this idea that he's a racist. And they can't just let the president do something, that presidents have done, giving golfers the Medal of Freedom before, and they have to make it about race. They can't just let the optics speak for themselves. They always have to editorialize so that the listener knows, hey, just so you know, this is a big deal. We have a white president and a black golfer, and and it's just really frustrating. But luckily, CNN's ratings are taking a nosedive right now, Raynard.
Well, yeah, they've already been a dive, so this is nothing new. No one watches CNN, but this is why, Paul, for example, on the website, you should see the middle of next month in June. I'm having our second annual. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank today. Second Economic Summit, but also our 7th annual Black Republican Trailblazer Award luncheon. Now, Paul, this is going to be the largest gathering of minority conservative entrepreneurs in the country, and we expect a lot of folks from the administration, members of Congress, private sector entrepreneurs, and corporate executives. And now, if we were to do more programming like this, Paul, now we're on to something. I mean, can you imagine having a couple hundred entrepreneurs who are Indian, Hispanic, Black, Asian, women? I mean, this is what America is about. This is what makes America great, when someone or someones pull these folks together in one room and say, we all have a common goal, a common interest, and I, as president or as this part of this administration, what do you all need for us to do to help you get to the next level? That's what makes America great, Paul. And we're going to do this next month, and it's going to be fabulous.
Well, really appreciate it. Raynard Jackson, founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future. Really appreciate what you're doing. I definitely think that the numbers don't lie. If you do get 15%, above 15% of the black vote voting for President Trump, it is very difficult mathematically for the Democrats to win the presidency. So let's work towards that goal. I think that's really, really positive. And really, I think what the larger factor here is just the ability to not group people by race at all, in terms of, because the color of my skin is X, I have to vote Y. Right. I think that here is really, it's almost like a freeing of the mind.
Well, exactly, and again, when the Republican Party, Paul, goes into every community, and quit listening to these darn pollsters who say, well, don't go after the black votes, it's a waste of time, they'll never vote with you. I've been in those meetings, and I've had to, let's just say, Paul, I've had to speak in tongues at some of these meetings, because I find that offensive as heck. If you believe in the message of conservatism, Paul, you should take it to the marketplace of ideas and fight like the Dickens to go into every community, because you believe your message is so far superior than what liberalism is offering folks.
Very well said. Raynard Jackson, appreciate it, sir. I'd love to talk to you again soon.
Anytime. Thanks so much.
All righty, folks. The telephone number this morning, 870-275-9799. If you would like to contribute to the conversation, you can call or text us.